Hey everyone, this is David. Some of the students were having kind of a hard time with this grid project, so I'm going to show you kind of an easy, quick way to do it. Hopefully it helps some of you out. So here's the Blackboard page. You click Projects, Grid Project, and you should be able just to click that and it'll open up in it. Adobe Acrobat. Alright, for this one, you're going to be creating 3 of these designs. And it's an 8 by 8 inch document with 1/4 inch margins and 1/4 inch gutters. Gutters are these little spaces between 2 columns of text. So you're going to do 3 different designs. In the first 2, make sure you're just using 8-point type. It's going to look a little weird, but we got to just use 8-point type. And the last one, you can kind of go to town and have a good time. It suggests using these fonts, but if you don't have any of these fonts, just use a simple font. Don't go crazy. We do want it legible. You don't have to worry about mounting it or anything like that, since this is an online course. The text you're going to use is down here at the bottom, and you can highlight it and copy and paste it in. So what I'm going to do is come down here, launch InDesign. Before you create anything in InDesign, just make sure your preferences is under this InDesign, preferences, units, and increments. Excuse me, sometimes this is defaulted to picas. So that'll confuse you and it's kind of a pain. So change it to inches and hit OK. So we're going to create a new document. And we want it 3 pages since we want 3 separate designs. Hit tab, 8 inches, tab, 8 inches. Don't do the columns for now. And your gutter is 1/4 of an inch, so it's 0.25. And then 0.25. So instead of typing 0.25 in each one, just click this little button here and it links everything and hit OK. Before I do anything, I'm going to create a layer. Well, there's already one here, so we'll just use that one. We'll be creating a couple different ones in a second. So double click, and I'm going to call this just my template. Alright, so you see we've got 3 pages. We're going to start on the first page. So I'm going to show you guys a little trick. It should make life a whole lot easier. You can do the math and divide this equally with 4 columns going across the top and 4 down the side, but I'm going to show you guys kind of a trick of the trade. Grab the text tool. This is new in InDesign CS5. I wish they would have had this. I've been using InDesign since 2.0 and this is a great feature. So what I'm going to do is grab the text tool and I'm going to make sure I'm right up in this top corner here. And I'm going to click it, I'm going to hold it down. While still holding it down, don't let go of the mouse. Okay, start dragging and hit the right arrow. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so you have 4 boxes, text boxes, and then I'm going to hit the up arrow while dragging down. I still haven't let go of the mouse yet. And I'm going to hit 1, 2, 3. And then I drag all the way to the bottom. Sorry, allergies bother me, guys. So, I have all my boxes. They're all evenly distributed, and they all have the same gutters. Yay, cool trick, huh? And you can do that with different things. If you wanted to select all of these, I'm just going to delete real quick. You can do that with boxes too. So you grab a box here, start dragging a box, side arrow, right arrow, up, 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 up. You can get really crazy with this. So you'd have a bunch of evenly distributed boxes, and you could fill that with like black, and you could start probably doing some pretty cool design. So that's kind of a neat feature. You can also distribute these and place images in each one of these and then fit within that space, and you'd have a, you could start working on a table, and if you're doing a catalog. So just a neat little trick for you guys to check out. So back over the text tool, and then time to get serious. right arrow, right arrow, right arrow, up arrow, up arrow, up arrow, and I've got my nice little grid. Okay, and the reason I'm using this as a template is I just want this, you know, I want this to be visible, but I'm not actually going to use these text boxes, because if I do, it's going to flow text, and I like to do it on the side, but I like to know where my margins are going to be so I have consistency. So there's my template, and you're going to do the same thing on each one of these pages. So you go to page 2, drag 1, 2, 3, 1, up arrow, up arrow, up arrow, and do that for that one. So you're going to have this for each one of your pages. So what I'm going to do here is create a new layer, and I'm going to call this one page 1. And I'm going to lock this template. I don't really want to be able to accidentally mess with these text boxes, so I just locked it. Now I can't mess with it. So this is a non-visible. Okay, if you go to your preview, you'll see that nothing's there. Okay, it's just letting you know, but none of this would be printed. So what I'm going to do is now I'm going to copy all of my text. Okay, and you can copy it in pieces or copy it all at one time. It's really up to you. So Command or Control C, copy it, come back over. I'm going to zoom out, Command minus, and then I'm just going to draw a text box and hit Command V. So there's all my text. Now remember, 8-point, so I'm going to convert all of this to 8-point text. There we go. And so I'm going to start laying this out. And I want to use this grid as a guide. So I'm going to grab text tool, and this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to use just these two right here as my guide, because I want common typographic diseases to run along this side here. So I'm just going to pretty much create any kind of text box, just kind of get something set up. Copy, paste, and then I'm going to rotate it. If you hold down the shift key, it'll lock. See, I'm holding down the shift key. Okay, and I want it to run in between these two. Okay, so you can get it kind of lined up, and the smart guys are on, so get it kind of lined up so it's in the middle. Maybe make it a little smaller here. You know, if that doesn't look good, you can always move it over to this side here. You know, you're just playing around with the text at this point. You can have it so it's aligned up here, and you can cross over these grids. That's fine. We're just using this as placement. I could have it right in the center of the page. So I want to do the next one, so I'm going to click various forms. This is like the definition. So I hit copy. Just make another text box and paste. And then kind of size it how you want it. Okay. And if you want to center it, you know, mess around with it. I highlight everything. I come up, I make sure the character formatting, you have character and paragraph, character. I center it up. Go back over to the paragraph. You can play with the leading a little bit. Space it out. Okay, and then align this so it's centered up, or you can have it like right here, right here. You know, it's really up to you how you want it to look. You know, you're just kind of playing. So if you were to preview this, you'd see this is how it's going to kind of look. So you might want to move this one over a little bit. Okay, and just pay attention to these kind of guides here. You can line that one up with this one, line that up with this guide here. You know, it's just kind of moving things around. You could have this on this line here. I'm trying to stay away from any of the text itself in these gutters. Okay, so have some fun, kind of mess around with it a little bit. And then here's that first one, so you just grab that part, hit copy, oops, what happened there? Copy. And then grab text box, maybe move it over here, paste. You can make this bold, I guess, if you really wanted to. Try to keep the same style, but you could do like semi-bold. You know, play around with it a little bit. And so you need to put all this text into this document here. And if you're on one of these text boxes, kind of zoom in, and if you want to mess around a little bit here with the padding of the text, padding is what we call like the inset. Right click or control click and go to text frame options. And this is where you would do your inset spacing, because a lot of people, what happens is that, let's say you wanted to, not on this first one, you could do it on the third one where you can kind of do some design. You want to put a stroke around this text box. Well, this text right here is way too close. I mean, it's bumped right up against it. So what you want to do is you want to inset it, or some of us call it, you know, pad the text a little bit. So by clicking this little arrow here, you've seen that I've moved that text away from the text box line, and now I could stroke it and that text itself is not touching. You don't want text touching your text box, and I hit OK. So move this around, and you know, you're going to mess around with this a lot. You might want to put this over here, make sure it lines up. You know, if you wanted to put this down over here, try to get it so it has consistency, and preview it and see. This is what it's going to look like when it's printed. So have some fun, do some different things, and you'll notice on page 3 is where you can have, you can really go to town. You can have some fun. So on page 3, you notice I unlocked that layer, so I'm going to go back to my template layer. And on page 3, do the same thing. Text tool, arrow, 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 up, 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 and I've got my box set up. Okay, go back to my layers, log it. I don't want to mess with it. Create a new layer. Page 3, hit OK. Just hide. You can hide, but I'm going to make sure to lock that one too. So now I'm just working on page 3. This is where you guys can have some fun. So I'm going to make a text box. I'm going to need some of that text observed, so I am going to unlock it for a second. And grab that, copy it. Okay, come back down to page 3, paste it. And this is where you guys can use some more funky text, some bigger text here. So you can make this really, really big. Okay. Move this over, stretch this out a little bit. Make that running down the side if you want. Move that over here. See if it lines up. Yeah, it works pretty well. So you can have some fun on this one. You know, kind of mess around. This should be the time that you want to maybe design. I'm going to just grab this second one here. Just kind of show you. Copy. Page 3. And make sure I'm on page 3. Grab text box, paste it. And you can make this centered, make it real big, change it to like bold italic, grab this part here, and let's say line right. Oh, we don't want to do that. There we go. Or make it justify. Just mess around with it. See what you want to do. I like that. I think that's kind of cool. So you can make that align up with this one, and you preview it, and you can see where you can have a little bit more fun with this third one. The first two, yeah, you know, you got to be a little strict there. You know, once you have this one done, a lot of times you can just hold down your option key if you have your select tool, and maybe put this one down here. Okay, come back over, and let's do text tool, and I'm going to grab this one real quick because that's a nice long one. Hit copy, scroll back over, and then do the same thing. So I could grab this, it's 22 point, bold italic, make that. You just type it in actually if you want to do it, 22 point, and make that one bold italic. Grab this stuff here, make that a line, and you can see now that it's looking more like a design. Cool white space, you're using some type, and this is why, you know, we like using the grid system, because you have consistency in the design. It makes it a little easier. There's a lot you can do with a grid system, and I'll show that. I know this tutorial is a little bit long, but bear with me. Normal page, 8.5 by 11. Grab the text tool. I'm going to do the same thing. Grab it, but this time I'm going to make this like 8 columns and this wide, just so I can have a basics of what I'm doing. So with all of these selected, what you can do is you can start creating kind of a grid design. And I just selected those boxes here. I pull this one down. Let's say I want these 3. I delete it. I pull this one over. It snaps to where those margins are. Okay? And you can move it, play around with it a little bit, and then say, okay, I have this long body of text here. Maybe I want this top part to come across here, and then I'm going to have 3 columns of text here. Delete those, and I'm going to have a image here. So you can see by using, you know, if you're using that text tool and creating distributed columns, you can create a lot of different designs. You know, you could do, let's select all of these, and instead of using text boxes, we use just the normal rectangle tool. Same thing, arrow, 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 arrow. I'm going to go crazy this time. So you check it out. And mess around with it, fill that to registration. You got a lot of cool black boxes there. You can select these, change those to like red. Okay, select these 3, change those to red, and you've got modern design. So you can see where you would use this grid system for really cool design. If you guys got any questions, feel free to email me, call. I'm here on Fridays now. I was part of this, I was doing these courses where I was gone a lot on Fridays, but I'll be here on Fridays for tutoring. If you want to come in, just make sure to email, make sure I'm going to be here. Have some fun with this one, guys. You know, it's just kind of playing around. Remember, you get to play in the third one. These first 2, 8-point type. But this one you should have some fun with. Try a lot of different experiments. Okay? So I hope that helped. And when you're done, make sure to save it for one. But I want you guys to package this, because I want to see your fonts. If you don't package it, your fonts are left on your computer, and I'm going to see some weird stuff. So package it, save it, save it to the desktop. What I usually do is make a new folder. You know, this one I would call Grid Project, or you could actually name it just typography, because, you know, inside of this going to create one. So you want to call this one Grid, and hit save. Hit continue, package, okay, and so I'm quit out of this, don't save that, And what you're going to see is a very busy desktop, so don't make fun of me for that. But here's that folder you created, and inside of this type folder, okay, you're going to see that grid project, okay. So, you know, this is what you're going to send to me is this grid project here, okay. Just make sure it's packaged and zipped correctly, or your fonts are going to be left behind. So, if you guys have any questions, let me know. Thanks.